Order, please.
Distinguished Chief Whip of the Senate, your point of order is sustained.
Order, please.
Nice to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges.
Asha,
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been
that allows suspension immediately.
Or refer.
To you alone, or this is a particular trend?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to explain that.
Yes.
Yeah, so many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth. And the Senate President is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first we were at Ikot-Ekpene, we were in his house in Ikot-Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. Then he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just 3 of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from. I was like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. My husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, do you like my house? I said, of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste. He said, now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it. At that point, I just pulled away, and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me, and the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate President too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate President now said, oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel. He has a chapel in his house as well. So when we were going to the chapel, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate President's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 points in Ikot-Ekpene. And my husband asked me, Natasha, what did the Senate President whisper to you? What was he telling you? I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap wrap it as if there was nothing, because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate President. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I lay to my right, and my husband wrapped his arms around me, and he said, my love, you know you can't tell me anything. What did the Senate President tell you? Again, I was like, don't you believe me? I said, nothing. Nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy. Then my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone, and I should not go to the Senate President's house, because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, after office to get approvals and all that. So I told him, okay, no problems. That was it. I thought that was going to be the end. But then, in February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of the corrupt practice in Ajaokuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it. Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before my motion is taken, the time will be well spent. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office. And I said, Senate President, you know how important this Ajaokuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he would take it. I was like, sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed. Then it was listed a 3rd time and stepped down. He then said, Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me and make me happy. At that point, I said, sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this. He said, well, the ball is in your court. I left his office, and when I got home, I told my husband, I didn't tell my husband what happened. I just told my husband, please, can you speak to the Senate President to allow my motion to scale through? I think I also spoke to the DSP, to the leader, Senator Payme. I spoke to a number of senators that they should please intervene and allow him to do that. I never told them what happened. My husband had to take a trip to London. Then the Senate President traveled to London. My husband met with the Senate President in London and pleaded with him, let my wife take this motion on Ajaokuta. That is very important to her.
Okay. All right, Senator
Natasha. Said, okay, that he did not take it because he was protecting me. Hold on, please. He didn't take it because he was protecting me. Protecting me from what? Anyway, at the time my demotion was taken, it was the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Barau, that actually sat. The Senate President stood up and walked out. So it was Senator Barau that actually took it.
All right, Senator Natasha.
And from there, many other incidents happened.
Yes, Senator
let's
Natasha.
talk about the nightclub. Yes. Hold on, let's talk about the nightclub incident.
Professor Kila is going to ask you a question. I'm so sorry to have to interject here, but I just want to mention that, and I'm glad you gave the caveat at the beginning of your statement, that this is your side of the story, and the Senate President has the right to defend himself or to counter what happened between you privately. So what I assume, or for what you're saying, is that what happened last week Thursday began from a private conversation, and then you have felt like you've been maligned as a result of you not agreeing to certain propositions, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
what has happened? You know the same story of when a student keeps being failed.
Yes.
Please, let me say this, Ayo. You know the situation we see in universities whereby a student is continuously being failed just because she has not slept with the lecturer. That's what I've been facing, in simple terms.
Thank you. Professor Kila.
That is what I have been going through.
Thank you very much.
And now, moving to, should I speak? Good afternoon, President of the IPU. Good afternoon, colleagues. I come with a heavy heart from Nigeria. But first, I'd like to apologize to Honorable Kafila Ogbara. I am not here to bring shame to our country. I'm here to seek help for the women of Nigeria. Again, my name is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. 5 days ago, on the 6th of March 2025, I was suspended. As a senator, I was suspended illegally because I submitted a petition of sexual harassment against the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. I thought that by submitting the petition, he would recuse himself, and both of us would submit ourselves to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition for a fair and transparent investigation. But unfortunately, I was silenced and I was suspended. I was suspended for 6 months, amongst many other stringent conditions, such as taking away my security, taking away all the officials, vehicles, and other items that were handed over to me as a senator. My salaries will be cut off. I must not appear anywhere near the National Assembly. And for 6 months, I'm not to introduce myself or present myself as a senator locally in Nigeria or internationally. That means I'm here illegally. But I had no other place to go but to come here and speak to you women. Because this is a bigger picture. A second. is a bigger picture. It depicts the crisis of women political representation. My suspension is not just about me. It's about the systemic exclusion of women from political leadership in Nigeria. Women make up 3.6% of political offices. And in the Senate, it's just 2.8. We have 109 men, and only 4 of us are women. So right now, it's 108 with only 3 women. This is a clear case of political victimization, punishment for speaking out against impunity, corruption, and gender-based violence. The United Nations Declaration 48/104 declares sexual harassment as a form of gender violence. The Senate's actions are an assault on democracy. I was elected by my constituents to represent them, yet a few powerful men have unilaterally decided to silence their voices by suspending me for 6 months. My call for an open and transparent investigation into harassment allegations have been met with hostility instead of accountability. If a female senator can be treated this way in the full view of the world, imagine what ordinary Nigerian women will go through every day in workplaces, in universities, and other aspects of our society. A culture of harassment and silencing must end. And this is not just a Nigerian issue, it's a global one. Women in politics, media, and businesses face threats, intimidation, and violence for simply demanding fairness. From sex for grades scandals in universities to harassment in workplaces and political spaces, Nigerian women have constantly been forced into silence.
Go to your seat, then when you get to your seat, I will recognize you.
I sat next to Senator Kwankwaso until I was led by the sergeant at arms that this is my seat.
I asked I asked the clerk whether he allocated that seat to you. He said he didn't.
He told me he would prefer to sit here. So I said there is no microphone there, but he said he would still prefer to sit there.
If there's been a senator that are allowed to speak without a microphone, state. That's never happened in this chamber. All we said is there's no microphone where you are. Go to a place where there's one and you can speak. Now you have the floor, speak and let us make progress.
I want to apologize to my colleagues if I raised my voice earlier, and to say that until the Senate is well reconstituted and the sitting arrangements well arranged, I want to hold my...
Mr. Thomas, would you guys I don't want to fucking affair. Have you set the state of death? Come on and take him out. Smell him out. Smell him out. Look like a dog. Look at you. Food at 70. Food at 70.
Pressure is too much from her people. Now, let me play just one thing for you. About she said she didn't say that about Obi. Which one is okay? What's it? Okay. Oh shit. Forgive me, guys.
Let's start that back again.
Yeah, play that one.
So when I have called herself, this is the plan. She said fine. Yeah. Put herself, she put a team. Peter brought in 5 lawyers, and there's another lady who manifested Dr. Abiola. Came together and they said they will go there and disrupt. So
I saw her there,
was intentionally to disrupt that thing so that they will not move on. What was it? They said it's been...
Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and Dr. Sandra Duru issue 2025. In February 2025, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan accused Senate President Godswill Akpabio of sexual harassment, alleging he made inappropriate advances and suggested her legislative proposal would only be considered if she took care of him. Akpabio denied all allegations, saying he had never harassed any woman and urged Nigerians to allow the courts to handle the matter. In May 2025, Dr. Sandra Duru, also known as Professor McBeak, a US-based Nigerian activist, publicly countered Akpoti-Uduaghan's claims, alleging that Natasha privately confessed the harassment never happened and that she was offered $200 million to push a media attack against Akpabio. Duru also accused Akpoti-Uduaghan of attempting to connect Akpabio to an old organ harvesting scandal linked to the 2021 death of a young woman named Umoren. Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan rejected Duru's accusations, calling them false and asserting that any audio recordings presented were doctored and not from her. She further claimed Duru was acting under Akpabio's influence to discredit her. The Nigeria Center for Public Integrity and CPI has called for an independent and thorough investigation into the matter, stressing the importance of transparency and accountability.